When you think of Scotland, you might think of the beautiful church buildings, but there's so much more to it than that.
Scotland has a rich history and was once the epicenter of the Protestant Reformation. Scotland has sent out some of the most impactful missionaries, like Eric Liddell, who chose to die on the missions field rather than give up his responsibility to lead the church in China, or David Livingstone, who opened the door to Christian missionary work in Africa. In fact, historically, Scotland has been known as the land of the book due to its strong Christian heritage. But this is no longer the case for Scotland. The 2011 census showed that 57% of the Scottish people do not believe in God. By 2016, this number had risen to 72%.
There are many beautiful churches in Scotland, but many are empty and closing their doors. On average, 6 churches close down in the United Kingdom every week. It is estimated that within the next 50 years, the entire Church of Scotland will cease to exist as older members pass away without new believers to replace them.
We are the Hidalgo family.
And God has called us to share the gospel in Scotland.
I grew up as a very stubborn atheist. It was through my wife insisting that we attend church that I came to know Christ as my Lord and Savior. It was shortly after being saved that God called me into the ministry. I surrendered to this calling in 2015, but without any idea of what kind of ministry God was calling me to.
I grew up in a Christian home and accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior when I was 7 years old. Shortly after being baptized, our family moved and we did not find another church home for several years. By the time I was a teenager, I had already strayed away from my faith. After joining Cypress Creek Baptist Church, I rededicated my life to the Lord and almost immediately started to feel God calling me to the missions field.
It was on a missions trip in Honduras that God broke our heart for foreign missions. We surrendered to God's calling as He led us towards a burden for the Scottish people. We were blessed with the opportunity to minister in North Berwick for 4 weeks. It is our desire to work alongside veteran missionaries Dan and Jackie McCaskill and continue the work God has been doing through them since the early 90s. This includes establishing a children's ministry, a ministry for young adults, and eventually equipping Scottish believers to plant churches across Scotland.
Would you consider partnering with us in prayer and in financial support so we can bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to a country that desperately needs revival?
It is clear that Scotland has become a country of spiritual darkness, but we believe that God's light shines brightest in the midst of darkness.